In the US, philanthropy is an established part of the culture, but here in Australia we're just learning about charitable giving. Journalist Fiona Harris is with me today to discuss it. Thanks for joining me today, Fiona.
Good morning.
These are tough times for everyone, especially charities. What can we do about it?
I think it's been reported in the paper that a lot of charities are finding it a little bit more difficult at the moment to raise their funds. Charities like Salvation Army talked about a 20 to 30% drop in the amount of funds that have been donated of late. So with that sort of drop-off in corporate giving, it's really put the emphasis back on individuals to see what they can do.
Is philanthropy relevant?
It is, even more so. I mean, obviously, there are sort of two camps that you fall into when times are tough. A lot of people need to tighten their belts and things like giving become the first thing to go, I guess. On the other end of the spectrum, there's people who realise that if they're finding it tough, there are people out there that are even finding it more tough. So those sorts of people really want to give more now more than ever.
Do we as Australians have a culture of charitable giving?
We have a great culture of giving, and it's really evident in our reaction to, I guess, the high-profile charities, things like the Boxing Day Tsunami Appeal in 2004 and the more recent Victorian bushfire appeal. We really tend to donate to those things big time, and it really demonstrates internationally our generous spirit.
What type of people give?
Well, it's not the rich, it's actually the generous that give, and I think that's the thing that really came out in this story from the experts that work in philanthropy. Often people that go into philanthropy in a more structured way have sort of origins or roots in working in charity, working in their Rotary Club, being part of APEC. So it's a sort of a community level interest that starts off and then maybe develops into something more serious.
Are there particular trigger points that make people start to give?
Look, there is, and this is something that, again, the experts really emphasised. It can be something like a capital gains tax event, a death, people selling a business, even a trip overseas to a more impoverished nation can really trigger people's interest and give them that sort of that emphasis to make something happen.
In researching your article, you spoke to a couple of philanthropy specialists. Is the structure under which people can give very complicated?
No, it's not. It really falls into two vehicles, and basically choosing the vehicle comes down to how much funds you have and the level of involvement you want to have. So charitable endowment funds are a kind of off-the-shelf type product. So a lot of the big fund managers offer these products, and they have a minimum of about $20,000, and they really do it all for you. So it's for people who maybe don't want to have that much involvement, or are maybe just getting started and just want to see how things are done. On the other end of the spectrum, there's the private ancillary funds, and these funds are for people with higher limits and for people who really want to get involved with their project.
Are the tax rules in this area attractive?
Look, again, it's pretty straightforward. With any charity, basically, you just want to confirm that they have what's called a deductible gift recipient, so a DGR status. And there's about 20,000 charities that have that status, and that will ensure that you will get your tax deduction. One of the interesting things that the experts said was a lot of people choose to donate through deceased estate, but you don't get that tax deduction if you go through if you donate through your deceased estate. And the other thing is you don't obviously get to see the benefit of what your money can do.
And can you transfer investments such as shares and property to charities?
The simple answer is yes, but really what you need to ask yourself, and you can even transfer art, but again, one of the things that came out in the story was you really need to ask yourself, would a property that I value be as valued by a charity? Because obviously once you transfer something like a property, what can the charity do with it? Will they then have to go through the steps of selling it if in fact it's not useful in its current state?
Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.